All right, it's time now to know what's on the front pages of the Nigerian newspapers. And joining me is journalist Dari Udufowoko and broadcast journalist Ifi Onyegbule. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, let's go straight to the papers now. And I begin with the blueprint. Buhari to service chiefs. We are in a state of emergency. I'll pray for you, says our promise to secure the country stands. Will meet Nigerians' expectation. CDS Irabo, Omar Agege, Ndume Hill President, Northern Governors urge consolidation. All right, let's quickly move to the front page of the Daily Times now. Buhari declares security emergency, meets with Ondo Oyo governors, service chiefs on. You find the story on the front page of the Daily Times. To this day newspaper now. Make Nigeria safer, Buhari orders new service chiefs. Military top brass await National Assembly's confirmation. Hold new appointees accountable, NEF urges President. PDP asks ICC to probe outgoing officers for crime against humanity. Makinde Akeredolu Oni visit presidential villa over insecurity. All right, we move to the front page of the Vanguard newspaper now. Insecurity, flush out all criminals in your state, Buhari tells Akeredolu, says we are in an emergency. Notes it hasn't been easy to keep election promises. President meets Makinde Akeredolu Oni over insecurity in Southwest, while Akeredolu visited Buhari Ondo government. All right, on the front page of the Daily Stone, talking about the service chiefs, new service chiefs vow to end insecurity, get Buhari's marching orders. We are in state of emergency, President. And on the front page of the Nation newspaper, still talking about the new service chief security, Nigeria in a state of emergency, says Buhari. President meets with service chiefs. Military bosses resume tomorrow without Senate's nod. To the Punch newspapers, service chief's appointment, Buhari goes against the judgment, bypasses National Assembly. They need confirmation, says Kiyamo. Appointments not substantive, Falano. They can't get salaries. New posts illegal without Senate's confirmation, Sands. President not compelled to get the National Assembly confirmation, declares presidency soars. To the front page of the Daily Trust. Now, Buhari to service chiefs. We're in a state of emergency and will tackle insecurity, CDS, hold them to account, Northern Elders. We need more mobile policemen. Makinde Ondo begins herdsmen registration today. And to the front page of the News Direct, COVID-19 violators of face mask law risks 6 months jail term. That's Buhari speaking there. Well, finally, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, why federal government's planned asset sale can't boost revenue. Professionals want assets valued before sale concession. Not adhering to procurement law is illegal, says Wike. It's against fiscal responsibility to sell capital assets for recurrent purposes. All right. Let's look at the story, which is almost on the front page of almost all of the papers this morning, talking about President Buhari's marching orders to the new service chiefs. He says we are in a state of emergency and that the new service chiefs have to hit the ground running. Let's get your point of view, Ifi Onyegbule. It came for some persons as a welcome development when the president received the resignation of the former service chiefs and have appointed the new ones, even though the National Assembly is yet to confirm them. And now he's given them marching orders. From their appointment to his marching orders now, what's your reaction to this development?
I think this is a welcome development, that's the truth. Nigerians have been clamoring for this to say, this has gone on for too long. The carnage, the mayhem has gone on for too long. Why don't you just let these men go? Give them the marching orders. That's how it's done. Bring in fresh legs, fresh hands, fresh pair of eyes, and all of that. And he's done that now. He's giving them the marching order and said to them, look, we're in some kind of a state of emergency as it is. You need to get out there and do the right thing. So I think this is wonderful. But I'm hearing now that he's doing this without recourse to
The National Assembly's
the
confirmation.
National Assembly. Why do we continue to do that? Why can't we just do the right thing?
Perhaps because we're in an emergency, like he has said.
Emergency. Fine, but we need to also understand that we have to do the right thing. That's the truth. But be that as it may, this is good. Let them now get out there and begin to give us results. We're tired of talk, talk, talk. Get out there. I want to hear that Leah Sharibu has been reunited with her family. I want to hear that people can sleep with their 2 eyes closed in the north as it is. I want to hear now that I'm traveling to the southeast. I don't have to pay 100,000 or 70,000 one way to get to Owerri before going to my village in Mbise. I want to hear that I can take a leisure drive 10 hours from Lagos if I'm not in a hurry, drive down to the southeast. Yes, I want to do that. With a good car, I can drive all the way. Not minding or being afraid that someone or some persons will stop me on the road and somebody could get kidnapped and all of that. So what we want is actually peace. What we want is to know that Nigeria is safe for people. Do you know that Nigerians who even live abroad, they're afraid to come back home?
Of course, a lot of them.
That's the truth. So with this now happening, you have, I want to call them brand new service chiefs, even though people are saying that these are still the same old people. But they're new. Let's see exactly what it is that they're going to do. It's still early, but Nigerians are watching, and we're going to wait and see what's going to happen.
All right, let's get your point of view, Dari, to this development. Some are saying that the president is finally admitting that there is an emergency security-wise, which a lot of them and Nigerians say they have been talking about over the years.
Yeah, well, I listened to a friend this morning likening the development to developments in his own house. He said there were issues of theft in his house. His maids and his other workers were stealing. And he decided to just repaint the house. And he repainted the house and as a solution to stealing. And he asked me, a new paint, will that stop my maids
From stealing?
who avoid thieves from stealing? And of course the answer is no. So I see new wine, yeah, but in old bottle.
How so?
The clamor for the change for service chiefs have actually never been my angle to this. Because the problem with, our complaint about service chiefs largely has to do with the war in the Northeast. They're not delivering, they're not winning the war. Boko Haram is getting stronger by the day. Changing the service chiefs. The service chief, chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, chief of air staff, chief of... They are not in the war theater. They are not the fighting men. The fighting men, we see videos every day, they tell us we don't have arms. We lack ammunition. Our morals are low. Then we feel that just change the top. Change that mouse seat
We saw
in the
videos,
office.
some viral videos showing these people celebrating, jubilating with the change, with
Look,
regard to the change.
We saw viral videos of people celebrating, jubilating. I won't go against that, but these are not verified videos. Right. This is Nigeria, and this is the era of fake news. So I will not attribute those videos to this recent development without checks. But what I'm telling you is, having succeeded in changing the service chiefs now, will the war end tomorrow? Should we just simply fold our hand and expect that next month it will be over with Boko Haram? My answer is no. There are still very, very serious issues to address.
Like?
The issue of ammunition, the issue of the morale of the fighting men. The issue of the policy, the war policy. The president said we are in an emergency. He said the same thing about 2 years ago. If truly we are in an emergency, then we should fight more with the feeling of getting out of that emergency. We should attack the war with all required seriousness. We should look at development, complaints emanating from the war front. There have been complaints of people making money from this war.
Corruption.
Corruption. Have those people alleged been probed properly? Have they been removed from the theaters of war? Commanders whose juniors have come out to say, look, so amount were sent, this is what we got. We've not seen that sincerity to probe certain developments about that war. The allegations of our generals becoming fish merchants in Baga and other lakes in the Lake Chad Basin, leaving the war, delving into fish business. The allegations of some prominent persons, traditional rulers, community leaders, selling the army out to Boko Haram. What have we done about those ones? If we expect one man, because he's the chief of army staff, to come and turn around the war just with his arrival, then we are not ready.
They have said they are committed
Now,
to doing that.
we wanted the change. We have the change.
We have gotten it.
We've gotten the change. So I would rather look at the new man and say, look, it is going to be business as usual if you don't take your own destiny in your head. Because the chief of army staff and the CDS staff, they have their destiny. We are, whatever it is we are saying about Buratai now is his destiny. Mm-hmm. That's what he made of the opportunity he got. So to the new fellows, they should identify the problems and make it their business to solve these problems as much as they can. Let us assume without conceding that the former chief of, former service chiefs were not telling Mr. President all what the problems are. We are assuming without conceding. Then this new one should tell Mr. President all he needs to know.
Right.
This new one should tell Nigerians all they need as it is. Maybe that will help us fight this war. Then we should not be, we shouldn't politicize the war. Attack when you ought to attack, retreat when you need to. Don't put political considerations into any of your actions. That is what. Then talking about the issue of the National Assembly not confirming them. I think we are once again politicizing this issue, and we should be careful.
Right.
We all wanted drastic action. I think that was the clamor. This is a state of emergency. This is a serious issue. The president should take action. He decided to take action at the time the National Assembly is on recess. They gave a date, mind you, because I am not speaking for Buhari, but I am assuming that probably this is what happened. They gave a date that they were resuming.
And then
they refused to, and he saw that he needed to do something. He's just done it. Nothing stops the National Assembly from coming to confirm this.
You just said it. It's an emergency.
They can go ahead and confirm.
So why is it that they are not seeing it like that?
Don't also forget that this is a military issue.
All right,
military don't follow these your civilian protocols.
Really?
You want to change? Yes, you want to change the commanders. We've changed them. Come and do your paperwork later.
Right.
All we should be concerned about
now
is let's get these guys working.
We'll take a break now and we'll continue this conversation. Just stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at the newspaper headlines, and our guests are still in the studio. Before we went to the break, we were talking about President Buhari's marching orders to the new service chiefs, and talks about the need for the National Assembly to confirm them. And Dari, you said that this is an emergency, so to speak, and it's a military issue. And I'm saying we are in a democracy, and there are processes, there are protocols.
I just told you that the processes have not in any way been breached. The president realized the need for quick action, even though to many of us is belated, even though to many Nigerians is coming better late than never. He has done what you want him to do. So the National Assembly stops on the table of the National Assembly. They are on recess. I would have expected that by yesterday, they will say, oh, we had the news of the new service chiefs. We are reconvening
because
immediately.
At some point, they were clamoring for the change of service chiefs.
We should not take delight in blaming Buhari for everything.
Right.
That's the truth. Now, slow and steady is about to win the race. It's just appointed new service chiefs when anybody least expected. Then suddenly, it is those who were clamoring that are nowhere to be found to do their own duty. So how do we still think it is the president's problem? Moreover, the issue of he is the commander-in-chief. He has the constitutional power to name his service chiefs.
Right.
The constitution now says when you name them, the National Assembly
Has to confirm
will confirm them. Let me ask you, if you have a situation where the National Assembly in their usual manner decide to fight to finish and they stay away for months, it has happened before. When they throw their chairs and tables and decide to, okay, for peace to reign, no, we are not sitting for a while. If one of the service chiefs, God forbid, drops dead, are we going to wait forever for the National Assembly to come before appointing one?
Nope, that's going to be an emergency.
So now it is an emergency. The president just took an action. Let's see how the National Assembly will react in an emergency situation.
Right, that is if they see it as such.
Well.
Although some say that insecurity has no color, has no, does not look at status, is what is happening
exactly
right now across the country. And so a lot of Nigerians are waiting to see how the National Assembly will respond to this new appointment. But he mentioned something earlier that I would like for you to touch on, Ify, talking about sincerity of purpose, tackling issues of corruption, and ensuring that the morale of those at the forefront is something that is attended to, such that we can really engage this war and win the war. I'd like for you to perhaps talk to us in that regard, how we can address this moving forward, because seemingly we couldn't do much with achieving anything when the former service chiefs were there with regards to these issues.
Sincerity of purpose is something that we've talked about over and over again. He's just explained one key thing now. The same persons who were clamoring and, you know, bashing the president left, right, and center, change these men. Now that has happened, they are nowhere to be found. Nobody should even prompt them or tell them to say, look, let's have an emergency, you know, emergency sitting and reconvene so that we join hands with the president to see what we can do. Because I'll tell you, Nigeria is in the news for the very wrong reasons. People are afraid to come here. Many want to come spend their time in this country, but they cannot come. Now, you're talking about those who are right there in the thick of things. We saw that unverified video of people jubilating that somebody has been sent packing. Now, let's assume that that video is true. That's to tell you exactly what it is that's going on with and amongst the rank and file, if we put it that way, of those who are in the war. Now, the president needs to understand also that forget about those briefings. They come to your large office and sit down with you and tell you what you want to hear. Find a way. Every leader finds a way to reach out to the little man who's down there to say, what is it that you're going through? That's the only way that you can get a clear picture of what it is that's going on. Yes, we blame the president sometimes because the buck stops on his table. He's the leader and he has to take responsibility. But he's just one man. And that's why he has assembled people to say, let's do this work and move Nigeria forward. He's done the right thing now. If you're not getting it right, let's try someone else. That's how it was during the President Goodluck Jonathan time. Nigerians saw that, look, we might not be we're not getting what it is that we want, and we need a change. And that's why they all stood shoulder to shoulder during the Occupy Nigeria protests. And that gave rise, you know, all of a sudden we found out that, look, everyone is saying, look, we don't need him anymore. It is anybody but Jonathan. And that's how this government came to office. So the same thing will happen. If you're not able to deliver, this is the way out. These men are here now. All eyes are on them. And I just think that they should do the right thing. Stop playing politics with the lives of people. Stop giving the president a bad name. Now he talked about equipment. What's stopping us from procuring equipment? Is it to say there is no money? There have been monies that were budgeted for this. That's it. So where are these monies going to? He talked about people not being called to question because of what it is.
Issues of corruption as well.
Yes, issues of corruption. Nobody is asking questions, which is why we will still blame the president. Why can't you, set that, in motion so that people, these men that have gone now, they need to answer questions. There are people who say,
there are calls for probing them.
That's it. Our sons are missing. We can't find them. Some soldiers. Who will answer those questions? So the idea is something happens. Everyone's talking about these new men now. no one is going to look at what it is that has gone wrong.
Why the old man couldn't perform?
How do you set up a house
on a faulty
when
foundation?
The foundation is faulty.
Oh.
That simply answers the question. Yeah. If they need to break the table of what the old brigade or whatever we want to call them, the old service chiefs had, break that table and construct another one. And it's about going down to the foundation, set it right, so that we can have a smooth sail as it is.
And there are also talks about the fact that the military, as it is overstretched. They are dealing with Boko Haram, issues of banditry, kidnapping. You find them in almost every state. And that there is perhaps the need for the president to look into recruitment at this time if we really want to win this fight against every issue that is seemingly troubling us as a country.
Yeah, well, it goes beyond recruitment, really. The military, no doubt, is overstretched. And the reason is not far-fetched. The failure, or I don't want to use the word collapse, of the policing system is stretching or overstretching the military. Some of the functions into which we are dragging the military today should be carried out by the police.
By the police.
Look at it's not funny that we need the military in Lagos to handle a proper gridlock. A proper gridlock. That is what we call go slow in Lagos. We can no longer, and it is not even regular police that used to handle go slow. It used to be yellow fever. You call it yellow fever, transport police. But today, it is not only that yellow fever failed, police failed, mobile police failed. Then we have to bring in, go to a proper, you see naval officers, mainly Air Force, and soldiers directing tanker drivers on how to park. Functions that the soldiers should have no business with. Right. That is one. Two, the issue of kidnapping, the issue of banditry are things, the mobile arm of the police are trained to handle. But you don't find them there. Rather, you find a mobile policeman escorting trailers and doing security for VIPs.
Bags of politicians.
Carrying umbrella for Chinese contractors.
And politicians.
I don't want to mention politicians.
Why?
Why are you putting it in my mouth?
Why? It's an
if he
umbrella.
allows me to choose my words.
Okay, let him choose his words.
Let me choose my words.
Let him land.
You are with me.
I am with you.
Chinese contractors,
Right.
They carry their umbrella. They escort VIPs. That is, if it's uncles that returns from US with words of Naira notes, you find that. So the problem is, it is not just the war that is overstretching the military. The fact that we have allowed the policing system to fail. Right. So beyond employing or recruiting, let us restructure. The police will be restructured in such a way. Let's go back to, in those days, we knew the constabularies, we knew the mobile policemen.
We had respect for
policemen.
All right.
When a policeman comes without a gun, I remember when I was growing up in Bariga, a policeman comes into your neighborhood without a gun, which is a condo. We call it condo. Everybody will be cut to size. But it is no longer the same thing today.
We do hope that the stakeholders are listening and the issues tabled here will be taken into consideration. Thank you, Ifi Onyegbule. Thank you, Dari Udufor, for coming on the program.
Yeah.